I grew up in what could be called a rather English, Victorian, British kind of context. Yes, I am Canadian, but nearly every bit of my DNA comes from a few islands off the coast of continental Europe. Perhaps it's simply a stereotype of those places. I don't know, but you'll probably know what I mean in a few moments. Emotion was not to be too extreme, not too ecstatic, and not too dramatic. Please stay in the gentle middle. I don't think this was unique to my upbringing. It's just something quite pronounced in the Anglo-Protestant world that I grew up in. Keep calm and carry on. And even the city in which I grew up in is known for being rather restrained in expressing its enthusiasm for almost anything that might be considered fun. Toronto the Good is what it used to be called. It was still a city of churches worthy of the name, Toronto the Good, with a population of staunch religious conservatives who barely voted for Sunday streetcar service in 1897 and in 1912 banned tobogganing on Sunday. Don't let it fool you, it still quietly holds onto a great deal of that stiffness underneath, no matter what it tries to look like on the outside. I believe that stiffness actually comes out of a belief that acting stoic is the same as goodness, or maybe even holiness, given the church's influence on Western civilization. It's the same belief that gives rise to an unemotional Jesus, who would never smile or laugh or cry. Whatever you do, don't read John 11:35. Jesus never smiled. Jesus never made a joke. Jesus never, you fill in the blank. It makes no sense, but for whatever reason, it persists. Now, you and I are whole people, and emotions are a massive part of what makes up who we are. We connect with the world through emotion. Experiencing emotion ensures that events that we experience are filed away in our memory. Emotional engagement helps you learn better. Yet for whatever reason, in much of the West, emotion gets a bad rap, but we're emotional beings. Nearly everyone likes music. And what is it about music that we love? Is it the mathematics involved in song construction that we can't help but love? Maybe. Is it the poetry of great minds putting their words to melody? Maybe. You may love both of those things, assuming they exist in that piece of music that you're thinking of. But I would suggest that outside of a few exceptions, those are at best secondary. Emotion is what we connect with. Why do we love a particular type of music or a particular song? You have an emotional connection with it. That's why you sing along with it when no one's around. You associate moments in your life with songs that you heard at the time. Now, don't laugh. When I hear Whitney Houston's version of I Will Always Love You, it was Dolly Parton's song first, I can feel the emotion and even sense the physical space I was in. One time I heard it back in the early 90s, or two times actually. Both in some way involved romantic interests. One was in the darkness of a winter morning before school, and the other was at a high school formal, my first time dancing. When I hear AC/DC's Thunderstruck, I can feel the dressing room at the hockey rink in Warsaw, where I used to live, while getting ready with my friends before a hockey game. I could go on. You get the idea. I'm sure you could put together a list of songs that do that for you very quickly. The songs are emotional. It's simply what they are. It's not a bad thing. So the question I have been asking myself recently is, why do so many churches completely ignore the emotional nature of music? Most Protestant churches have a similar structure to their services of some form. Welcome, song, sermon, song, dismissal, and announcements just sort of thrown in there somewhere as well. The middle three parts are almost universal in the modern North American church. What is also almost universal in the North American church is seeing each of those elements as separate components, disconnected from the components around them. We welcome people, stop. We sing a song, stop. We sing another song, stop. Someone preaches a sermon, stop. We sing a song, stop. And because there's no connection between any of those things, you can throw in the announcements whenever you want, because one assumes it will have no impact on anything either before or after. Even high church denominations like maybe Anglicans, Lutherans, and some Presbyterians, not all, have a flow to their service because the entire thing is a form of ritual and ceremony, developed over centuries. However, in the low church, relaxed t-shirt wearing churches that dominate much of the evangelical church, we have abandoned ritual and ceremony and replaced it with our own form of liturgy that we don't actually understand. And for the record, I do prefer a relaxed setting, and I often wear t-shirts while I preach. Here's my point. We would do well to understand that music, by nature, draws us in and engages our emotions. That's a good thing. It's not something we should shy away from. For many of us, Sunday morning kind of looks like this. We come into the sanctuary or a meeting space, and there's some relaxing music on. Whether it's popular worship tracks or not, it's mood music. Mood as in we're trying to set a mood. Emotions are being engaged. The band comes on stage and we're watching them as they get ready, and we're ready too. And we're ready to sing because the mood has been set. Our emotions have been engaged. But wait, the worship leader will not talk to us for a few minutes. The mood is no longer set. Emotions confused. They stop talking and now the song has begun. Time to get back in the mood. Okay, back in the mood halfway through the song. Now the song's over. Worship leader decides to talk again. Mood killed again. No flow. Another song starts, trying to recreate the moment again. Partway through that song, feeling relaxed, back in the mood, sort of. Now the song's done. Announcements now. Killed the mood. No flow. The person comes up to speak. They speak as though we are still in the mood somehow. Somewhat back in the mood partway through the sermon, only because I've worked so hard to get there. Now the sermon ends, worship leader gets up, talks again. One sermon was apparently not enough. They seem to think that the preacher didn't say everything they wanted to say today. The mood's now dead, song plays, song ends, service ends. Now I'm tired from working so hard to get back into the mood again and again and again and again. And by mood, I mean emotional engagement. Listen, when someone is emotionally engaged, they are ready to participate and they are more ready to learn. When they are not, they have to work on that themselves. And this is what it comes down to. Music will do a great deal of that emotional engagement for us if we let it. The purpose of music is to engage us emotionally. So let's embrace that and use it to the benefit of every person who attends a service. Let's acknowledge the fact that we are emotional beings and that emotions are an essential part of how we do what we do when we gather. So what are we supposed to do? How do we capitalize on the emotion from music to communicate better with people? Well, there is a solution to a great deal of what I've criticized here. It's barely used, can be learned quite easily, but takes intentionality and hard work. It's called transitions, but that is for another time. Hey, I hope that this was interesting for you. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. While you're at it, if you like this video, hit the like button once. If you didn't like it, hit it twice, and hit the subscribe too. I know that sounds like a lot of hitting going on. Maybe I should just smash the like button. Maybe that's what I should say. Peter McKinnon will never know. We'll see you in the next video.